Yeah. Heck, man. American pickers ain't got nothing on me, man. Hello, all my fellow junkers and trash pickers, dumpster divers, thrifties. Today, what are we doing today? We are, I'm editing a video, man. That's what I'm doing. Today, I just thought, I actually started off this morning, and I was watching some junka videos, you know, or they call it picking videos, whatever you want to call it. And this one guy that I started watching, I think I just found him yesterday. I can't remember what his name is. Let me see if I can find it. All right, his name is Bear Hardcore Picker. That's his name, man. If you end up going over there and checking him out, man, tell him the Idaho Hillbilly says howdy. But anyway, man, I was watching one of his videos. I don't know when it was filmed or anything like that. We're out in the trading post, as you can tell. And out here listing, dude. List. Oh, I haven't done any videos. But, so, I was watching one of his videos, and it was of him setting up at a flea market, or an antique show. I think it was a flea market. You know, and I watching the video and stuff, man, he didn't have a very profitable show after, you know, I can't remember what he said, man, 600 and something bucks on Sunday, and made a few bucks setting up. I don't know how long the show was. I wasn't paying, you know. I'm looking at all the junk, man. I listen to what he says, though, man. He's pretty good. And he's been doing it almost as long as I have, man. It sounds like, or at least he says he has. And, you know, because I've been doing this crap my whole life, man. I started off selling books when I was just in grade school. Dumpster diving in second grade, first grade, my whole life. And anyway, so he's talking about this show that he did. And, man, he'd made, you know, I don't know, let's say $1,000, you know, that he made total. You know, and he scored some stuff, because that was one of my things when I would do shows, especially when we were living, you know, on the road, because we traveled around in the motorhome for 6 years and, you know, just did flea markets, raising our kids, homeschooling our kids, you know, if you don't know our whole story, you know, but, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. And so, that was one of our things, was not only did you want to go in and make some money at a show, but you wanted to score, you know, my thing was at least score a half dozen things for the next show, you know, just in case you didn't get to do any junking between now and then, because I was setting up every weekend. So it was like moving a house, basically, because, man, we had a whole, you know, we had a lot of stuff, man. It was, our booth, most of the time was 10 by 30 every weekend, you know, and then some of the shows that were more expensive, you know, and you had to rent the spots inside, like in the wintertime. They, a lot of times I'd get 3 spots then, but sometimes 2. Man, it got to where it was just so expensive. It was ridiculous. So anyway, so he does this show and stuff, and then he's like, man, I didn't do very well. And he starts to break it down, you know, and say he'd done $1,000, man. It was, I think he said it was like $125 for his room, you know, because he ended up renting a motel room. So it might have been just, he might have set up, man, I don't remember. It might have been more than one night that he rented it. Anyway, you can watch his video. You can go back on there. And if I remember, I'll put the link. But anyway, so he, $125 for that, and then his fuel, you know, I don't know, whatever his fuel cost, and then he had to pay, I think it's 5%, he's in Canada, and had to pay 5% tax, or whatever they call it, and then you got your cost of goods, and everything, man, and when you start cutting all that off the top, you know, of say $1,000, you know, that doesn't leave, you know, and then it took a week, you know, he took a week before to get all that stuff ready, you know, and get it all boxed up and priced and all that kind of stuff for a week before, you know, and then hauling it down, then setting it up, then breaking it down, and then taking all that crap back home to unpack it, you know, which you could bust butt and do in a day, but, you know, if it's anything like me, man, it takes a while, you know, just doing it. But anyway, so by the time that was said and done, man, it, you know, when I first started watching it and the sound, you know, because I did shows for, oh man, I don't even, you know, and occasionally we still do one, but, oh, 30 years of doing flea markets, antique shows, and festivals, and rendezvous, and all that. And when he's doing the setup, man, you know, especially like being in the, you know, he's like in the building, man, and we did the Spectre one down in Boise. We did, oh man, I don't know, 25 years or something like that. And the sounds while he was setting up almost gave me this, you know, man, I'm like, oh man, I want to do it again. You know, because, man, just you can't, it's indescribable, man, when you're setting up, because there's so much sounds. It's almost like music to the ears. So setting up, man, I was thinking, gosh, man, I haven't done that for a while, man. Maybe I want to do that. You know, of course, Miss Kitty's like, ooh, that's horrifying sound. She don't want no part of it. You know, that's why it's nice to be able to sell online. You know, I still sell person to person here and there and stuff, but there's a, man, you know, the majority of it anymore, man, it's online. You know, I do some wheeling and dealing, and then we still set up in a few things. And then, so man, that was just getting me going. And then by the end of it, when at the end of his video, when reality set in of how much it made and it wasn't really worth his time, then I was like, oh gosh, maybe I don't want to do that after all. But I'd been thinking before I even watched his video, which had just popped up on my feed, you know, I'd never heard of him before. And I'd been thinking or pondering, renting this building in this one little town and setting up, and I may still do it, man, in January, February, you know, setting up like an indoor yard sale, you know, and with me and the kids, I mean, we'd pretty much could fill it up, because they have two buildings, but one of them's pretty small. It's pretty cheap to rent. And then we'd been talking about doing that up in McCall too, you know, setting up in McCall. McCall's good, man. We do good in McCall when we set up there. But, I don't know. I don't know if we will. I get these things, and like I said, my wife's not very supportive of it. She'll do it, but, and she'll put on that fake smile for me, but I know deep in her heart, she don't much care for that anymore. You know, I guess that's, making her do it for whatever it was. We've been married for 35 years, and I haven't done them really since we've been up here, so I guess that, you know, 33 years that I made that she did them. She's probably had her fill of it. Or not 33. No, if we've been, because we've had this place, so I guess 23 years that Kitty's been along with me, that we were doing shows. But, and I just caught that, all that, so, you know, I was thinking, you know, I was going to send him a message, too, of just how, you know, I've talked about it before on here and stuff like that, man, back when, you know, we started doing shows, before eBay, dude, you'd go out, man, you'd make, you know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, sometimes more in a weekend into 2-day show. You know, man, just rolling it in, man. I remember there was a time, man, me and Mike, he's passed away now, Mike Mooney, a good friend of mine. And I remember one time he was in the booth, you know, we had booths next to each other, and we were just laughing and carrying on because we couldn't even fold our wallets. We had so much money in it, dude. It was amazing. I love that guy. But, That was before eBay, and Mike's one of the first ones. Because he lived in a motorhome too, we'd travel, we wouldn't travel together, but we'd always be running into each other and everywhere and stuff. We were pretty good friends. And gradually, I don't know when it was, man, probably, when he got into eBay full time, I would say, either 2000 or, man, it might have, I don't even remember dates, man. I have no idea. But anyway, he worked his way. He had stuff in an antique store, and then he had stuff in a place that was Played Again Sports or something. He had some stuff in there because he'd get a lot of sports type stuff. And he kept the stuff in the stores, but he stopped doing the shows and stopped traveling. We went and see him up at Cascade or Donnelly or Sumter and stuff. He stopped doing them shows, and I'd see him out and about, or down at the auction, would run into each other, and he'd be like, man, you need to get into that eBay. You need to do that eBay. And I was like, oh, dude, I don't want no part of that eBay. Well, in the time that he's telling me this, man, our shows, it went from making, $2 or $3 grand a weekend, man, and it just started just dumping, man. And pretty soon, man, a good weekend, was $200 or $300 compared to $2,000 or $3,000. And that was because us flea marketers, or antique show, even the antique shows were like that. We had become the middle guy for the eBay guy. So that, man, basically what I'm saying is eBay ruined flea markets. And now is it even worth going out and doing a flea market? Sure, if you're buying the stuff right, for sure. Definitely ain't going to get the prices we were getting back in the, 80s and 90s. But, and that's just because there's eBay, man. You can buy that stuff, stuff that used to be a one of a kind. Now there's hundreds of them on eBay, man. It ain't quite like it used to be. But for like me, to do 1 or 2 shows a year, man, I pull all this, hillbilly crap out and pull all this stuff on and say go down to the Flatlands, or I go to McCall, or, I haul it all over to Lewiston, or, wherever the heck I go, Montana, wherever the heck I decide I'm going to throw this crap out. And the prices are right. I do very well, I wouldn't want to be doing it all the time because that stuff would run out, but, I do pretty dang good to do 1 show or 2 shows a year. But to run them like that I used to every weekend and all that, I don't. I'm sure there's people doing it, and I'm sure, some are probably doing dang good. But, man, I was talking to Kitty. After I watched, I was talking to Kitty this morning, and, we've had this place for 12 or 13 years. We moved up here and stopped doing the shows. When I first moved up here, I went and we did, I went down and did Emmett, Idaho, and I think we ran down and did Spectra once, and we did Sumter once, but just kind of winged out of it or whatever, and seen a lot of the old timers then, but now it's been, 10 to 12 years, and I've talked about it before, man, we were always the kids with the kids. Because the majority of the people that we ran with, spent Christmases and Thanksgivings with, they were all retired and older, and this is when me and Miss Kitty were in our 20s and our kids were just little. And we were out there doing it with them, and I was telling her this morning, started popping off with names, and I'm sure they're all gone, man. That Sam that ran, I love Sam, that ran the Spectra Productions down there. She, man, I don't know how old she was, but then I'm 56 now, which if Sam is still alive, would put Sam probably, she probably is 20 to 30 years older than I was. Her kids that I knew, and they helped out run the show, and they were the same age as me then. And so, Oh, I loved her, but there's so many of them, man. And I don't know. Carol Reed passed away right before we were right out. I think we were in the process of buying this place, and Carol, and naming all these names you don't know. I know Faye passed away, and Elsie, and oh, dude, just all these. It just breaks my heart, and I have, no communication with anybody anymore, and haven't for 10 plus years. So you'll never know, what happened to all them folks. I don't know why I got off on that. Sorry, dude. It's kind of a downer. But that's what I'm supposed to be doing. This is on this channel is talking about resale. So what I'm saying, man, I got off on that, dude. Is I just don't think, I mean, yes, there's people doing it, and yes, you can still make a living at it. And yes, there's, still quite a few shows. Not in Idaho. Friggin' Idaho, man, now that, Cascade, I talked about it. I think that one got bought out, and they built houses or something there, and that was, I don't even know how long ago that was. 3 years, 4 years ago. And then Donley was... it's been years and years since Donley and Lake Fork. There's no flea markets that you could set up like every weekend in this whole area. And I tried to, I was involved in, I don't know how many, man, 3 or 4 or 5 flea markets that we tried to get started down and around the whole area down below. And man, they'd start off good, and then they'd just peter out, man. I would change my booth around every week and all kinds of stuff. And, man, it'd start off hot, and then they, like I said, man, I don't know why it is like that, but in our area, the flea markets just don't last. Not a full-time flea market. I know there's one, if it's still there, man, over in Bend, Oregon, and then, of course, you got the ones in Washington and all that. There's flea markets everywhere, just not in Idaho. I don't know if Montana or Wyoming or any of them have year-round ones, or even, every year ones, or every weekend ones. And I talked about it, man, and there's some things going on in my county, because I talked about I probably talked to the wrong people, because there's something very similar to what I was talking about in play, and I'm like, what the heck, man? I talked to somebody I probably shouldn't have, because that's pretty close to the idea that I had, so... Anyway, that's all I got, dude. I really ain't got nothing. What am I doing, man? I'm going to finish this video here, and then I'm actually going to run up the mountain, and then I'll get back, and been doing a little bit of listing, not as much as I should, been selling some things, but, which sells right now, sales are fairly good, but, it's December 1st today, so... about till the 15th or so, man, if you're lucky, the week of the 9th through the 13th, that, sales will just start to plummet, man, because they can't get the stuff before Christmas, or no guarantees, so sales kind of peter out there through the, it just depends, what you got or what you're selling, but it pretty much peters out from there through after the first of the year. But a lot of people, man, we do make a lot of sales where the people, once Christmas is over, they're buying stuff for themselves for their Christmas present. And that always turns out pretty good. Anyway, man, that's it. Remember, keep your eye on the skyline and your nose to the wind. And if you're out there treasure hunting, I hope you find some color at the bottom of your pan. See ya.